I have a net worth of a little over $1 million. I plan to retire this summer at the age of 44, but I also did something that may sound strange. I took out a $3,000 margin loan and I invested all of it back into my own portfolio. In this video, I will explain why I did that. I will walk through how it works, I will share my plan if the market crashes, and I will talk about why this is not for most people. This is not advice. I'm just showing what I do with my own money. Margin can be very risky. You can lose money fast if you're not careful. If you're new here, my name is Zach. My channel is Zach Going Fire. I share my journey from bankruptcy to financial independence. I show how my wife and I plan to retire early and travel the world. Alright, let's jump in. I use a broker called M1 Finance. They let you borrow money against your taxable account. Once you have enough in your account, you can borrow a part of it. They call this borrow or a margin loan. You pay interest on the money you borrow. Right now, my rate is about 4.65%. That rate is a special deal for 1 year. After that, it will go up to around 5.65%. My loan is $3,000. There is no set monthly payment. The interest just builds up over time. I can pay it down when I want to. I did not pull the money out to spend it. I put it all back into my portfolio. My portfolio today has a dividend yield of about 7.57%. So here is the idea in simple numbers. If I earn about 7.5% in dividends and I pay about 4.5% in interest, then I keep the difference. On $3,000, that might only be tens of dollars each year. It is not some huge fast gain, but this is not the main reason I did this. The main reason is that I want to learn exactly how margin works in real life. I want to see how the interest hits. I want to see how the dividends come in. I want to watch how the numbers move month by month. Let me tell you how this started. At first, I wanted to borrow $1,000. $1,000 is a nice round number. It is small for my net worth. I felt safe with that. Then M1 offered a special deal. If I borrowed at least $2,000, my rate would drop by 1% for a year. So I had a choice. Borrow $1,000 at the regular rate or borrow more and get a lower rate. I was already okay with testing this, so I added $2,000 more. That made it a $3,000 loan. I did not do this because I needed the money. I did not do this to feel rich. I did it for two reasons. First, I wanted a real test. A $3,000 loan gives me more to watch. I can see the interest, I can see the dividends, I can see the spread. Second, I wanted to build my borrowing muscle in a safe way. I want to get used to the feeling of having a small loan. I want to see how I react when the market moves up and down. I want to practice while the amounts are tiny for my situation. At my net worth level, $3,000 is very small. If this goes badly, it will not ruin my plan. That is important. Now let us talk about how this fits in with early retirement. When you retire, the order of returns matters. If you get bad returns in the first few years and you're also pulling money out, that can hurt your portfolio a lot. This is called sequence of returns risk. It is a fancy phrase, but the idea is simple. Bad years at the start of retirement are worse than bad years later because you are selling shares when prices are low, and those shares are gone forever. For me, the danger window is the first few years, from now through about 2030. Those years matter a lot to my long-term plan. So why on earth am I talking about borrowing? Because I want to have a plan for what I will do if the market crashes. I do not want to guess in the moment. I want rules I think through in advance. Here's my current plan, which could change in the future. Right now, the market is near highs. I do not want a big margin loan at a market top. That is when the risk of a big drop is high. So today, I keep the loan small at $3,000. I treat it as a test. I watch it, I learn from it. But if the market drops a lot, my plan changes. Let us say we see about a 20% drop. My portfolio might fall by $20,000 or $30,000 or more. In that kind of crash, I may choose to borrow more. I might take out a larger margin loan in that $20,000 to $30,000 range, and I would invest that money back into my portfolio. Why do that? Because in a crash, prices are lower. Dividend yields are often higher. I can buy more shares for the same dollars. If the market recovers later, I will own more shares. My dividend income can be higher. My chance of long-term success can go up. Now, this is not risk-free. I must be very careful with the loan size. I must stay well above the level where I could not or where I could get a margin call. This is also why I do not want to borrow more right now. I feel that the risk of a big drop from here is still real. If I take a big loan at the top, a crash could hurt a lot more. If we already had a 20% drop, there is still risk. The market could always fall more. But to me, a second big drop right away feels less likely than the first. So I would be more open to using margin then. Again, this is just my plan today. I can change my mind later, but I like having clear rules before things get scary. I want to be very clear. I'm not telling you to copy me. Margin is not a game. Let me walk through some big risks. Risk number one, margin calls. If your investments fall a lot and your loan is too big, your broker can force you to add more money or sell. This is a margin call. You may be forced to sell at the worst time. You lose control. That is the last thing I want in a crash. Risk number two, overconfidence. It's easy to look at the numbers. 7% yield, 5% interest, I win. But dividends can be cut. Prices can drop more than you think. You can be wrong. I can be wrong. Risk number three, bad habits. Once you start to borrow, it can feel easy. You may start to borrow more and more. You may borrow to cover spending. That's a bad path. So who should not do this? If you still have high interest debt, I do not think you should touch margin. If you do not have a good emergency fund, I do not think you should touch margin. If you are new to investing, I do not think you should touch margin. If a margin call would force you to change your whole life, delay retirement, sell your house, or cut your spending in a big way, then margin is too risky in my view. Even in my case, this might turn out to be a mistake. The market may not act the way I think it will. I could be wrong about timing. I could be wrong about the size. That is why I am starting very small, and I am ready to pay this loan off at any time. Let me share the simple rules I try to follow. Rule 1, strong base first. I focus on paying off bad debt, building savings, and investing in a simple plan. Only after that do I even think about margin. Rule 2, know the rules at your broker. I read how margin works at M1. I check the rates. I check the limits. I make sure I understand how they decide on a margin call. Rule 3, have a crash plan. I do not want to guess when the market is falling. So I think now about what I would do at minus 20%, minus 30%, or worse. Rule 4, size it so that it will not ruin my plan. My loan is tiny compared to my net worth. If I'm wrong, I will still be okay. So to sum up, I have a $3,000 margin loan at around 4.65% interest today. It will go up to about 5.65% later. All of it is invested in my portfolio. My yield is about 7.57%. On paper, there is a small profit there, but the bigger value for me is learning. I want to see how margin works. I want to be ready if I choose to use it during a crash. This is an advanced move for me. It is not something I would have done earlier in my journey. I still believe that simple investing is enough for most people. If this video helped you think about risk and margin, please like the video. If you want to follow my journey as I retire at 44 and travel the world with my wife, please subscribe. Tell me in the comments, would you ever use a margin loan in your own FIRE plan? If yes, what rules would you put around it? If no, why not? Thank you for watching. Until next time, let's continue to drive towards financial freedom.